Okay, Anthony, hello.
We got there in the end.
All right, so we're going to get into this around why you joined Shergroup. So I got a few questions on my card here. And now you were a customer of ours. We never spoke, and you were a customer for like 2 decades, close to 2 decades, Raz was telling me.
Yeah, very close to 2 decades. I think it was about 16 years that I was a customer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I exclusively used Shergroup during that time. And of course, I hadn't spoken to you, but I had spoken to lots of other members of the team, particularly Raz.
Yes, well, I don't want anyone to think that I'm in an ivory castle, or an ivory tower. But our colleagues, who are now your colleagues, you're all so good at talking to our community that you only really bring me in if there's something either very important to deal with or very difficult to deal with, and so I'm left to get on with my other jobs. But you all deal with the community so brilliantly, and what a friendly bunch of people you are. I honestly don't know of anywhere else in the civil court system that people are so well looked after as they are by you. So 16 years of training, Anthony, to come and join the team. So we're so pleased to have you here. But so you started as a credit professional, didn't you? I mean, you were working at Auto Trader.
Yeah.
And you said you got this sort of unique experience. Explain that to us.
I was a credit manager at a number of firms from being pretty young back in the day. And then I was initially the credit manager at Auto Trader. And in a nutshell, we started doing our own litigation. We wanted to do it on the cheap. So I started throwing my hat in the ring, really.
Yeah, and then you've qualified. You're a member of Silex, so you've got
Yes.
you've got a professional qualification as a lawyer now.
Yeah.
Did you do? When did you do that in your career?
Several years ago. Probably.
You don't want to say, in case we date.
I actually don't remember how long it was, but let's say it's probably safe to assume it's probably about 12, 13 years ago, something like that.
Okay.
Because what was happening, I was attending court in probably quite an unusual situation, that I was doing my own advocacy in relatively straightforward matters, but I have attended over 1,000 court hearings. So during that time, my company decided that they wanted to fund me getting a qualification so that the two things could go hand in hand, really. And I eventually relinquished the credit manager's role completely and was the legal manager for majority of my time with the firm.
And I think we're both examples of people that have come up through the ranks, aren't we? I mean, I started as an audio typist. They didn't start me off as a somebody going to court. They started me off in the typing pool, and then I went on to do my Silex qualification, and then went on to go to uni, and then take my qualifications. But I've had my practicing certificate since 1989. So yeah, I'm feeling old today. But I cherish it, and I know you cherish your qualifications, so good for you. So for all of you out there that are working in law firms, and perhaps you haven't started your professional qualifications, if you are running a file or you're managing cases, I encourage you to go back to college, do it online now. We couldn't do it online when I expect we were doing it, but go and do it online and get your qualifications like me and Anthony, and then move forward from there. Who knows where that will take you? And you can see it's taken Anthony a long way. It's taken me a long way. So don't feel that you're not good enough. I know a lot of people in law firms, they just sit at a stage, and we want to get all of you qualifying and moving up the ladder, like we've done. So we encourage you to do that. So you had this brilliant experience with Auto Trader, and then you were using sheriffs. Were you using sheriffs, or have you always used High Court enforcement officers?
No, when I started, we were new to it as a firm. We hadn't
Right.
ever litigated against anybody. We
Oh,
had
right.
had live advertising who hadn't paid for 3 years. We didn't have terms and conditions. We had no credit process whatsoever in place. And as I say, we hadn't ever issued legal proceedings against anybody. So I was brought in to sort of completely build and streamline that process, which I did. But as I say, the role completely evolved, and the role that I left is completely far removed from the role that I started.
So you had to take county, because you got judgment, and then you had to transfer
Yeah.
that to the sheriff, or the, did you use the SLC? Is that how you came? Is that how you Sheriff's Lodgement Centre?
Well,
Is that how you came into our world?
I actually don't know how I originally came to Shergroup. I think I probably just Googled it at the time, and we did experiment with 2 or 3 companies at the time, at the outset, to decide which was the best. And I dispensed with the services of all the other ones for the remainder of the 16 years because I had a really excellent service from Shergroup. We had excellent results. I enjoyed speaking to the people who are now my colleagues. So that is why we exclusively used Shergroup for that 16 years. Did I get approaches from other companies during that time to ask us to use their services? Yes. Did I ignore them? Yes. Because the services that I was receiving were fantastic. So I stuck with them.
And you didn't speak to me in that 16 years, so that's why it was fantastic. Because Raz dealt with you so brilliantly. I'm so pleased about that. But you were mentioned in dispatches. You know, you were mentioned as a client.
Yes.
You know, this lovely client, Anthony at Auto Trader. So we knew about you. And then of course you came onto the radar. And then joined us a couple of years ago, and have been a great addition to the team. And now that you're on the inside of enforcement, I mean, you know, you're a customer of enforcement, and now you're, you know, in the team that's delivering enforcement. How do you find that? Is it fascinating for you, or, you know, is it scary?
Well,
How do you find it?
Perhaps it was a little bit scary at first because I haven't ever been on that side of things. It's definitely interesting. You know, being involved in the TV was very interesting, and it's a completely different side of the work. But nevertheless, the experience that I've had in that previous role and others has been very useful.
Yeah, because you love the TV show, don't you? I mean, you tell I think you're our biggest fan of the TV show, and you've spread the word with all your own portfolio of clients, which has been fantastic. And you were being filmed in London last week, weren't you, for the TV show? You're having your makeup put on.
Yes, I told someone this morning at a BNI meeting that I attended that I got a train back for 2 hours whilst wearing pink lipstick and foundation.
Oh dear. Well, if it's any consolation, everybody else had to wear that, including the agents. So, but it's good, isn't it? I mean, I just think it's such a true depiction of what we do. And of course, we don't manufacture these stories. I mean, a lot of our detractors would like to say that we do, but we just let the camera guys follow us, and then they just pick out of the footage the best stories, usually where there's a rogue debtor, and the good old creditor is finally getting their money back. I mean, that's what the public really want to see, isn't it, from the TV show?
Yeah, I completely agree with you, and I also think that some people, not a lot of people, some people think it's staged or it's stage managed in some way, but obviously it's not. It's filmed exactly as it occurs when the officers attend. So,
because your case, the motor aspirations case with Alex and Sherry in series 1, episode 1, I think, was a classic reason why we fought so hard for High Court enforcement. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that case?
Well, I mean, on that particular one, the client had completely given up hope upon receiving their money. In fact, they couldn't even previously another firm were unable to even locate the address where the company were trading. It was all a little bit cloak and dagger. So the client to be talked in to paying the transfer up fee, although it's obviously modest. They perhaps thought that they were throwing good money after bad. So to have payment in full on that one was a delight to the client, and probably a huge surprise, because they'd given up on it. Really, it was a last chance saloon sort of instruction, really.
And it was a textbook. It was a textbook case for me. You know, the way that the agents, I mean, this director was trading from home. He had basically moved his car showroom to the driveway of his house, where all the cars were lined up. I mean, there must have been 4 or 5 cars, and a very upset partner at the door, shouting very lurid abuse at the agents. And then the agents very carefully going through the website, company's house, checking who was the director, where the director was trading from, and really pinning the debtor down in his own driveway. Not literally pinning him down, but I mean just quizzing him to the point where he had to accept that the cars on the driveway were the company's cars. He was a director of the company, and therefore the company owed the money and had to pay the debt. And it was a fantastic job by Alex and Sherry in getting that result, because as you said, somebody else had tried. This is what we see a lot, isn't it? We see other companies have tried, but for some reason they seem to back off. And do you think we do that, or do you think we're what do you think our approach is?
I don't think we do that at all. I think the officers are very diligent and very determined, but of course at the same time they're also fair. They have the debtor's interest at heart if people are vulnerable or something of that nature. That is the case. And on this particular one, another High Court enforcement company had made a number of attendances, and I can't really recall the reasons, but obviously it failed, or we wouldn't have been sent the instruction.
No, and I think that tenacity and also the support that we give the agents so that they feel they're on solid ground, so that everybody is working to the regulations, everyone is following the Taking Control of Goods regulations. Schedule 12 of the Tribunal Courts and Enforcement Act is a very, very important piece of legislation for us, and it is highly monitored. And whilst I wasn't talking to you for those 16 years, which I will get over that point, I will, but what I was doing was actually building the systems to make sure that the framework that we have today and the people that are working in the systems today, both as agents and as office squad, that everyone is getting that right. Because we all know it's whose name's on the writ. So there's only one place that anyone looks if it goes wrong, which is the pointy end of being an authorised officer. So that's why we have to make sure that everything is right, and that everyone is in the system is on the right side of the regulations, and including the client, very importantly, making sure that the client follows those regulations, doesn't ask us to do some weird and wonderful thing that we can't do. Because people do ask us from time to time, don't they? And we can only act under the authority of the writ of control. But classic textbook case, well managed by you with the client, and a really just result. I mean, that's what I love about that case, that somebody that couldn't get their money, it's like £14,000, wasn't it? You know, somebody that couldn't get their money back from the court system, if it hadn't have come to us, they'd lost that money. And I think that's what gets us all out of bed in the morning, isn't it? That's what we all come to work to achieve for our client. I know you do. I mean, you're very connected with your clients and look after them and do a lot to talk to them and support them. And this is the role of a business solutions advisor. So you do a great job.
I would say that we all do, because it's not a big faceless corporation where you're speaking to a different person each time. People know, the clients know who's looking after particular matters, they know that they can speak to the same person. They build up a relationship with the person, so it isn't as if, as I say, they're just calling a huge place, which I've worked in many huge places, and speaking to different people every time that don't have experience and knowledge of their obviously particular needs. So that's probably where I think we differ, because it's more of a family and more of a personal relationship.
Yes, we've got a few people watching now. We've got Tiger Formosa. Hello, Tiger. That's a great name. I don't know where you are in the world, but thanks for watching, and thanks for joining in. And anyone else that we've missed as we've been chatting away. It's great to see you watching us. But this is what we wanted to do with Facebook Live, is to kind of like open up Shergroup to you know, the people that are actually working in Shergroup, and let you know that, you know, we're here. I'm just going to turn my timer off. I think it's gone off now. Yeah, it's gone off. So yeah, so I think in terms of work family, yeah, we are small compared to well, court service. And if you're in the court service system and you've got a money judgment, the court service won't guide you. That's the problem for them. They're conflicted. They can tell you how to get a judgment, but then when it comes to enforcing the judgment, the decision is with you. Now, there are government pages on gov.uk about how to enforce your judgment. I've got a judgment, what do I do next? But when you ring somebody like Anthony, what he will do is he will listen to your situation, and then he will evaluate for you the best way forward. And I think that's important, because one of the methods of enforcement are well trodden: charging order, third party debt order, attachment of earnings. But the immediacy of the visit under a writ of control, if we're talking about a money judgment, is that you get a visit by an enforcement agent who is trained, regulated, licensed, and very quickly you're going to know whether that person, you know, whether that debtor is going to be able to pay. You're going to get photographs, you're going to get a report back, you're going to get Anthony talking to you about the case, and this is the kind of service that we want to see, isn't it, for court users? So it's not just a faceless organisation.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, go ahead.
I speak to a lot of people who say that we call them back straight away. We provide feedback. We don't leave people waiting. So customers know they can rely on us.
Yeah, and you've been at a BNI meeting, which is our favourite networking group, isn't it? We're all in BNI.
Yes.
And you've been talking to somebody today about a couple of evictions, where they're not getting the service that they need on that, and they're going to
yes,
bring them to you. Yeah, tell me about that. What's the lacking bit of service there? Why are they coming to us?
Well, one particular company that I spoke to as a letting agent, which is quite close by, and they said we're dissatisfied with our solicitors and our HCEO. Didn't really go into details as why, but I think must be a fairly poor service they're receiving if they've met somebody for sort of 5 minutes and they're happy to swap. So presumably the service they've been receiving has been.
What are you talking about? It's you. It's your natural. Whatever.
As well, yeah, it was that. Yeah.
And you have to transmit that down the phone every day to all these people. But no, it is people. We always remember, I think, in Shergroup, don't we, that people have a choice. You do have a choice where you enforce your judgment. You can enforce it in the county court. You can transfer it to the High Court, and in the High Court there are numbers of providers that can actually provide the same service as Shergroup in some things, although Shergroup has a much bigger range of services now. But we never forget that you have a choice, and wherever you go in High Court, you are the customer and you're paying the fee. And I want to see you treated as a customer, not as a court user, not as the claimant, not as the judgment creditor. You deserve a service. And just like Anthony was saying, when he was in practice, he received a service, and that's what we want to deliver for our community. Sometimes it's a bit tough, Anthony, isn't it? Sometimes we can't always get the outcome that the client wants.
Yes.
And
no, correct. No guarantee if you're going to send your matter for enforcement, but having used the company for so long, then of course I think the results speak for themselves.
Yeah, and I think the other thing on that, and of course, bits of possession, getting possession back for landlords, which is something that we're busy with. It's almost 100. I think it is 100% successful. We always get possession back. That is just going to be a fact. The agents are going to go on the day and they're going to get possession of your property back. There's no walking away. There's no, we can't be intimidated. We're not going to sort of get scared off. We're going to finish the job. On a writ of control with a money judgment, we can't guarantee that you're going to get paid, and we won't know until you send us. And I think that's the bit where, for you as a customer, it can be difficult. Now, what I want to say to you is that people like the team, the entire Business Solutions team, like Anthony, it's such a good advert for me today, Anthony. It's brilliant to have you on this Facebook. But the whole point is that you have your hand held as much as you need through this process, which for some people, if you're owed £14,000 and you've got no one listening to you, no one interested in your case, I can promise you we will be interested. Will we always do the case the way you expect? Well, watch the TV show. That's how we do the cases. That's exactly how we operate with our agents, with our office. But if you find that something didn't go the way you expected, or you're disappointed, we deal with disappointment every day, don't we, Anthony? It's like a fact of life. Yes. On the money judgment side, right? Then okay, you can talk to us about it. And again, I think this is a huge piece that is missing in not just High Court enforcement, but across civil court enforcement. Where do people go when they want to, they want to have a moan, they want to vent off? And the fact is that we've got broad shoulders. We've frankly seen it all before. Not your case, but we've seen those same problems of, well, I thought he had a car and now it's on finance. Classic problem, right? You think he's got a nice big shiny Mercedes and he's leased it, so the finance company own it, so he doesn't own it, so therefore we can't take it. So all these problems we've heard, we're very good at hand holding. People like Anthony will hand hold you through it. People like me sit in the background really and make sure that you are getting the level of service. My team bring me the successes and the concerns, and I evaluate them and deal with them. And between us, we get the best outcome for you, which I think we're listening, and that's the big thing that's missing. And if you're a judge watching this, which you probably won't be, but you should be, then yeah, we're enforcing your orders. We are servants of the court when we're talking about enforcement. And we want judges to be involved in this process. We were fortunate enough to have Harry Wolfe involved in the process many moons ago, who took an active interest in what we were doing, and Senior Master Robert Turner as well. So we've had the great and the good of the judiciary looking at what we do and applauding it quietly, that their orders are with us and we're trusted people. So I take a lot of pride in that, and you're joining that whole crew, Anthony. Well, you're 2 years into the team now, so you're part of the furniture now. So but I hope you're enjoying your time with Shergroup. I hope it's a job you get up to in the morning and you go, yeah, I'm going to work today. Or not. You don't have to say anything. You can say, yeah, I do. I have to say that every day. I've been here a lot longer than you. But I think we do get the bug for it. That's the thing with enforcement. You either love it or you don't. You can't really be ambivalent about this job. You've got to be passionate about getting results for people, haven't you? Do you think?
Yes, which we do. We do get results for people. We get great results for people. The one that you mentioned TV show, as I say, was a total shock to the client. They expected complete failure. They got the opposite.
Yeah, yeah, and those cases are they're everyday successes. I mean, as we have a call every day at 5 o'clock, don't we? And we go through our successes, and every day we're helping people. So and that's good for morale, because we, as I say, some days we can't help somebody, but we will listen and we will try and do our best. And some days when nobody else is listening, that's better than nothing, I think. So Anthony, thank you for joining me on this Facebook live. I've got Shilpi. Hello Shilpi. And got somebody from Taiwan watching us. I think that's right. Oh no, I think it might be Tiger again. So, but hello Shilpi in India. That's an ex-Shergroupie. So I hope you and the family are doing well. And for everybody else, we're doing this every day. No, not every day. Every Thursday at 4 o'clock. Anthony loves Facebook Live, so you'll see him as a regular. And if you would like to be on our Facebook Live and come and join us to discuss about enforcement, business life, how you're getting over the pandemic, then we'd love to involve you in the show. It won't be all about call the bailiffs and bailiff, unless you want it to be. I'm happy to go wherever you want to go. I love just talking about how Shergroup is helping people, and I think Anthony does as well. We've got a broad portfolio now, haven't we? And your day is pretty mixed like mine is. So if you want to come on definitely. The show, yeah. And if you just want to vent off, please not at Shergroup, but if you just want to vent off about anything, again, then we'd love to hear from you. And we want to use this channel really to get discussion going about what you do and do not like, perhaps in the civil court system. Some things work. Money claims online works well for people up until the point you get judgment, and then please send it to us. That's all I can say. Please send those CCJs over to us. So guys, thank you so much. Anthony, thanks for pitching in today. I appreciate it. And as I say, you'll be a regular. Okay, and we look forward to seeing you on the TV show, and maybe, who knows, you'll have your own fan club. So good luck with that. Okay. All right. Well, thanks very much. Lovely to talk to you. And as I say, we'll post this, and you'll be able to post it out to all your family and friends if you want to. Okay. Yeah. Thanks so much. Bye for now, everyone. Bye bye. Bye bye.